Well, thanks for joining us this evening. We definitely look forward to having a packed house. I know it's getting close to the end of the month and you guys got some other things going on, but we're talking about increasing productivity, and that's what we're going to be talking about this week and next week as well. So the email that you received here just probably about 20 minutes ago, at the top of it should have a link that register for next week's training, which is going to be part 4, because of course there's a lot of information. I keep on trying to pack it into one training, and it just doesn't work. So I keep on having to do more and more continued trainings connected to this one, because it's a lot of information. I try to engage with the information as well between the slideshow and me being live here just like this. So hopefully you guys are getting something out of this. Hopefully you all are using this to build your business, no matter what business that you're in, and it really will help you move forward. And whether it's you opening a business or whether it's, you know, just you saying, hey, I want to leave my job and become an entrepreneur, whatever the case may be. So I'm going to do a quick recap, obviously, on a couple of different things before we get into the new material to catch some people up. Plus, sometimes we all need a recap anyway, just to refresh ourselves of what we heard the last few trainings. So I'm going to talk about part 1 and part 2 really briefly before I get into part 3. And of course, I'm going to end off by letting you know what part 4 is going to have in it. And of course, I'll give you my story as a part of me going over the information here shortly. And I'm going to be bringing some more guest speakers on the line as well. Not today, but in the coming weeks, I got some people lined up to interview and talk to. We got a good response last week with Mr. Millionaire Griffin telling his story and going over some different tips and things like that. So we're going to continue to do that as well. So let me go ahead and pull up this slideshow real quick so you all can get a chance to see some different things. Okay. All right, so what to expect. Like I said, we're going to go over TYB, which is Training Your Brain, part 1 and part 2. We're going to then go into only 24 hours in a day. Not really. We're going to talk about how to do some day bending and what we call a sense of urgency vacuum. So I'm going to show you how to get more time out of the day. And then we're also going to go over course correction and how tracking your numbers can help you. If you're doing bad, you can fix it by course correcting. And we're going to talk about how you can set new goals and move the date up for your goal if you're doing better than you supposed. So we want to make sure we cover that as well. We're going to save the past, present, and future until next week's training. And why are you so available? Or why are you so available? Now, if we happen to have more time, then we can certainly go into it this week. But I just want to make sure that we have enough time, because I'm going to be talking about a few different things, some stories to go along with it. So even though we're only talking about a couple of different topics, we're going to still spend some time on those topics. So this was up when you all joined. So I want to make sure you guys get plugged in. So what will happen is when you text the word mindset to this number, 90439320622, once you do that, once you text that over, it'll go into the system, you'll get a response, and then what will happen is from this point on, you'll get a text reminder for these trainings on Wednesday. So you'll get probably one a week, just letting you know that the training is starting in 10, 15 minutes or whatever we decide we're going to do with that. So I wanted to make sure everybody got a chance to see that. Again, if you have not followed us on Facebook or followed us on Instagram, if you could do that, that would be fantastic. I want to make sure that you all are seeing the information as I deliver it. Sometimes I deliver things that I don't do in a full training. Sometimes I'll just drop maybe some PDF things. So being on that page, and then you can engage on Facebook, on that Facebook Becoming an Entrepreneur page. So you can do that as well. So if you go to Facebook, and once you get to Facebook, you put in Becoming an Entrepreneur, you will find the Becoming an Entrepreneur page there. Go to Instagram, just put in Training by Dunbar, and that'll pull up as well. And then if you go to YouTube and put in Training by Dunbar or Robert A. Dunbar III, whichever you choose, and you can subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. I do drop 2 videos a week, and you'll get a notification if you hit the notification bell. If you don't hit the notification bell, then when you go to my page, you will see those videos there, but it will not notify you if you don't hit the notification bell. So just make sure if you're interested in that you get plugged in. So for those who do not know who I am, there are probably some new people on here. And I know I have some clients that get on. I also have people that get on from other venues that I deal with. And surprisingly, for the last 2 weeks, we've had some people from the UK on the line. So that's fantastic to be doing some international things here. But my name is Robert Dunbar, and I work with several different, actually, I'm a network marketer. As you see, six-figure marketer, and I'm in Legal Shield. So I've been able to create some success here in this industry with network marketing with Legal Shield. I'm a part of an organization called Team New Vision, and I've got some ring earners on my team. So I've enjoyed this run. I've been with Legal Shield for 9 years. So it's been really exciting. I love doing it, love working with the company. And I also have a training capacity with Legal Shield as well. So I do train on small business. I do train on group sales. I do train on the CDLP space, which is a commercial driver's legal plan certification space. So those are all things I do here with Legal Shield. And I also have a training company, obviously, Training by Dunbar. And I came to Florida from Buffalo, New York, probably 2005. And I originally came here to do real estate because I wanted to do some real estate down in Florida. I thought it was better real estate down here than it was up in Buffalo, New York, where I was at. I came in about 2005, and about 2008, I had acquired 8 properties. And when the market crashed, I lost about 3 of those properties during that market crash. So I started doing really bad. I had a Mercedes, I had a BMW. I always jokingly say that somebody from Mercedes came and stole my car. I really got repoed. And then I took my BMW and I hid it behind the other 5 properties I still had left. And every day I would change where I parked it until I made the money to be able to pay for it. And that's sometimes what happened to you as an entrepreneur, which is why I do so much entrepreneur training, because I don't want people to necessarily go through what I went through as a business owner. I've been a business owner for going on now 15 years. And when I reached that milestone, I hit that bad situation. I know I just did an interview yesterday where I talked about it had gotten so bad for me that I literally, when I went to go see my doctor, because I wasn't feeling well, my stomach was bothering me, I wasn't feeling well, and I finally got up and went to the doctor. And when I went to the doctor, my doctor let me know that I had bleeding ulcers. And I obviously not getting too visual with everybody on the line. I don't want to make anybody sick or cringe, but it had really gotten bad because I couldn't pay bills. I had employees I couldn't pay. I had mortgages that I couldn't pay. The lights were being cut off in places. I mean, it was just a lot going on with losing those properties. And then, it was just a lot financially going on, and it was very stressful. And I want to prevent that from happening to other people, which is why I do what I do. So moving forward in that story, what ended up happening from there was I ran into a friend of mine that was part of a nonprofit that I would do some work with. And that friend asked me, did I know anything about assisted living? I told him, no, I didn't. I wasn't familiar with it. And actually, I was familiar with home care because my mom did that for years. So I was familiar with home care, but not necessarily assisted living. And he said, well, why don't you get licensed and take your properties and turn them into assisted living, and I'll help you get some clients because that's the field I'm in. So I started working with him to do those things. And lo and behold, I turned my 5 properties into assisted living facilities, 3 of which were assisted living, 2 of which were assisted living, 3 of which were independent living, where the clients that lived in there could kind of pretty much take care of themselves, and they just paid about $500 a month to stay there, and each person had their own space. So I would have maybe 3 people in that house. They all had their own room. They paid $500 a month to be there. I provided some food and things of that nature. I'm not gonna get too detailed on it, but that's pretty much what I did there. And then in the assisted living, it was 3 8-hour shifts there working, in a pretty lucrative industry there in the assisted living. And it allowed me to make some money, which sometimes you guys will hear me talk about transactional businesses versus point of sale businesses, or when a person is buying one thing at a time, subscription based versus transactional. And subscription-based would be a business that you get paid every month, whether or not the person uses your services. That's one of the things I love about being a part of Legal Shield as a business owner, is that I offer a service that when people buy it from me, whether they're using it or not, they get billed every month, and I get paid residually every month. And that's a good business model to be in. And Uber has went in that direction, Lyft has gone in that direction, Amazon has gone in that direction, Netflix has always been in that direction. So when I do certain presentations, you hear me talk about that, because that's how you disrupt an industry, by having so much cash flow that you can really keep feeding your business. So the money that I made in that subscription base, right? It was subscription based because my clients that stayed there, they paid me about $17.50 a piece, and I had 42 limited mental health clients in those facilities, and I was getting paid about $17.50 on the assisted living clients. So because I had that money coming in, I was able to partner with somebody to open up a nightclub, partner with somebody to open up a Janet King janitorial service. I opened up a tax office with a woman I was dating at the time, and we had that for 3 years. So I started just kind of becoming a serial entrepreneur in that aspect, because I was making the money, and I was always trained to put my money back into my business. So because I was trained to do that, I kept on opening more businesses and just kind of following the entrepreneurial system. And of course, I made a lot of mistakes, and that's what I talk about in my trainings and things of that nature. So this is why I do what I do. And I really kind of have a gift to train. I've never went to school to train. Obviously, I don't have any degrees on my wall at all. Actually, I did a 2-year program, but I don't even consider that to be me going to college. So I don't really have a formal education. It's more of an informal education, and the fact that for years I've been reading about 3 books a month. So just personal development and just picking up the books that I needed to pick up to get better at whatever my craft was, is pretty much where my education came from. So here I stand now with Legal Shield, 9 years, with a training company for 3 years, and the other businesses are pretty much dissolved. And I'm now finishing up a book. So I'll be, before the end of this year, an author for a book that will become a series called Becoming an Entrepreneur. And it's the first book is Becoming an Entrepreneur in the Network Marketing Industry. And then from here, it's going to be Becoming an Entrepreneur in the real estate industry. The next book is going to be Personal Fitness. The next one after that will be Real Estate, then Insurance, so forth and so on. And I'm creating these books in this series because I want to be able to help people who have a specific skill set that want to say, hey, I'm a great barber. I work in a barbershop, but I want to open up a barbershop. I'm a great personal fitness trainer. I've learned to do this very well. I have a license or a certification to be a nutritionist, and I'm a personal fitness trainer, but I'm working at an LA Fitness or a Planet Fitness or a Goldie's. And what I want to do is open up my own gym, or I want to create my own client base and run a personal fitness company. Well, there's a skill set that goes into that, and it's called being an entrepreneur. And if you don't understand that skill set, then you having a skill set of being a personal fitness trainer, or knowing how to sell real estate very well, or saying I'm a top recruiter in a network marketing company, well, you still need to know how to do business in order to reach the top levels and the income levels that you need to reach to be a successful business owner for that matter. So that is what the book is going to be about. I've got about 10 interviews in that book. I've interviewed everybody from a gentleman named Mike Dorsey, and I know a lot of you on the line know who Mike Dorsey is, obviously, because he's in Legal Shield, and a lot of you on the line are in Legal Shield. Mike Dorsey's in the book. I've got a good friend of mine who I consider to be my sister, Tiffany Sullivan. Love her to death. She's in a book talking about the difference between running her law firm and being in a company where she's offering a legal service. I've got a good friend of mine out of Hawaii. So anybody on the line is from Hawaii, Mr. Danny Katoa, who is partnered in a beef jerky company. And he's also in network marketing as well, but he has a beef jerky company. So it's really about being an entrepreneur and understanding that you can jump from industry to industry. You could be in network marketing, you can own a catering company, you can own an event planning company, you can own a real estate brokerage, because there's a system in every one of those things. And once you know how to be an entrepreneur, you can pretty much follow those systems and be successful. And a lot of the lessons I learned from mentors and from doing it the wrong way. So I'm a person that subscribes in something that Jim Rohn said years ago, which was, failures, they should start allowing failures to do seminars, because they know what not to do. And it's a lot to learn from a person who knows what not to do when it comes to building a business. So I hope these trainings are going to be helpful for you all. I also do leadership training as well. I work with a lot of different companies, and I do trainings for them. And I also do trainings to pick up the morale near the end of the year. Not that the morale is bad, but a lot of times you're so caught up in what's happening with the holidays and family coming and making sure they're prepared for Christmas and Thanksgiving and the New Year that they stop working at their job. So my job is to come in and make sure that those companies have goals set and to get people to start setting new goals before the new year, because we know what happens to those New Year goals, those New Year resolutions. We just pretty much get rid of them. You know, once the year starts, you know, we say we're going to do them and then we stop, you know, 2 months in. You know, it's always funny to me because I go to the gym pretty much 7 days a week, even if I'm just on a treadmill. And it's always, you know, it's the same thing every year. You know, I can't get to a machine in January, and then by mid-February, you know, the gym is back empty because it takes about 45 days for these people to give up on their goals and dreams and all the things that they said that they wanted to do with the new year. A lot of people like have health, New Year's resolutions that have to do with health and losing weight and eating better and all those things. And it's really a lifestyle that you have to create. And you'll learn more about that as I do different trainings because I go into all those different things. So moving on here with my slideshow, I like to start with a quote all the time because it just kind of helps set the tone for what we're going to go over. And of course, this is Training Your Brain Part 3, Increasing Production. So our quote for today, or the quote for this, going into this part of the chapter, is focus on being productive instead of busy. And for those that follow me on Facebook, you know, I just posted something, I think this morning, that I had created probably 2 years ago, talking about that. You know, some people they get really busy and they think they're productive. And sometimes you're just busy being busy. You're not productive at all. And it's a picture of me actually looking down at my phone because you won't believe how many people check their phone, like the statistics say, about 400 times a day. You won't believe how many people are on Instagram and they're checking Instagram 150 times a day. So when I train next week and I talk about how to use your phone to be successful instead of letting your phone use you, how to be responsive and not reactive, and not your brain only works when it's reacting or responding to something that happened on one of your electronic devices. That's going to be kind of its own training points there because a lot of us are being controlled by these smartphones instead of controlling the smartphones. And if that's you, feel free to get in that chat and just say it's you, because if you can't air out the issues that you're having when you're on a training like this, then you're not really going to grow from it, which is why we talked about soul cleansing 2 weeks ago. You got to be transparent enough to say, hey, I do have a problem. That's why we talked about neutral thinking, because the minute that you won't even agree that you have a problem, you won't do anything to fix that problem that you have. So Tim Ferriss is the one who wrote this, focus on being productive instead of being busy. He's an American podcaster and an author and an entrepreneur. So just a recap of some mental exercises that we talked about in part 1, which was expanding your knowledge and expanding your knowledge in a category within your topic, unless you plan on switching industries. You want to expand your knowledge in that category. So read books about what it is you do and learn. You know, continue to expand your knowledge in that space. Take part in challenging tasks. Push yourself. Get involved in challenges on your phone. Get involved with challenges that other business owners are doing that are in your same industry. You may be in a mastermind group that does that. When I say get involved in a challenge, I'm not talking about licking a toilet bowl through YouTube, guys. I'm talking about getting involved in a challenge that has to do with you growing your business. Engage with stimulating people and places. And what I'm asking you to do is go out and network. Join the BNI. Join the Chamber of Commerce. Join some networking organization where you can meet new people and learn new things and get involved in luncheons and things like that, where you can really grow your business and get more knowledge in the space that you're in and meet some other people that are really pinnacle in the area that you're working your business in. Locate and discuss new ideas. Use the same system, but just, have these new ideas. And I would tell you, in the space of network marketing, hotel meetings have been something that's run that industry for, years. 40, 50, 60 years, maybe longer than that. And with this pandemic happening, people have moved into Zoom and using Zoom and other platforms to have the meetings that they would normally do in person. And, you know, that is a new idea, but you're still in the same system because you're still promoting to that event all the same. You're still getting people in front of relative information that doesn't change because it's scripted, whether it be on a PDF, whether it be a PowerPoint, whether it be a video that they're seeing the same thing. So that principle still works well. It's just you're using a new idea because as time changes, you need to change with it, which is why we talked about the book, Move with the Cheese. And this is a perfect time to be reading that book by Dr. Spencer Johnson, Who Moved the Cheese, because in this pandemic, things are definitely taking a turn, but you want to be taking a turn for the best, but not for the worst. And I want you to ask yourself, and actually drop it in the chat box. If you're transparent, drop it in the chat box because I love to see you guys engage there. Tell me what new skill you're picking up during this pandemic. Tell me what new skill you're picking up. Like, what are you doing that you weren't doing it before? How are you going to come out of this thing more positive? I've gotten so much better with creating PowerPoints. I've gotten so much better with shooting videos since this pandemic started. I actually just registered for a self-defense course to start taking a self-defense course. Obviously, because I've talked to some other people, and you know, the whole concealed weapons license thing is great for anybody that has it, but I don't want to carry a gun everywhere. I don't want to carry. I do a lot of traveling. I don't want to travel with a firearm. I want to be able to just defend myself without having a firearm, and I want to be able to defend myself, not proactively be having to do anything to anybody. So, you know, I'm picking up some new skills and doing some different things during this pandemic. So when this is all over with, I can be like, you know what, while I was locked down, I got better. So I want you all to do the same thing, get better. So put in that chat box some things that you've gotten better with. And if you haven't, look, if the pandemic is not over with, sorry to say, we still locked down in some areas, sorry to say. So I would tell you to do some things, right? Go to YouTube and look at some things that you're interested in and figure out what you can do to get better at those things. There's a lot of online things that you don't have to pay for. So, you know, I've been creating course material so that some of my trainings in the future that I charge for, I can have workbooks with them. So I'm doing a lot of things to pick up skill sets during this time so that this time is not wasted, because good guys, you're not going to get anything back from tomorrow. And again, you know, all relative, because next week I'm going to be talking about learning from your past, setting a vision for your future, and living in your present, because the present is the gift, right? So we're going to be talking about that next week on Training Your Brain Part 4. So again, I see a lot of chats going in there, so I appreciate you guys engaging and putting that in there. But guys, just, you know, use this time to sharpen yourself. Use this time to put your brain to work. You know, I get Netflix, I get it with the, you know, the TV shows and all that kind of stuff. Look, guys, I'm not telling you not to watch TV, but don't binge instead of growing right now. You shouldn't be coming out of this talking about that you caught up on all the episodes of some television show, you know, the housewives of such and such, right? We don't want you to do that. We want you to come out of here better educated and being an entrepreneur, or specifically in the field that you're working in. So we also talked about personal development, reading one book a month. We talked about your mentor being audio/visual. So remember, you can go to YouTube and make some of these YouTubers your mentors. You know, whether it be Jim Rohn, maybe it's Les Brown, maybe it's the late great Zig Ziglar. Maybe you like the hip hop preacher. You know, whoever it is, you know, whatever, you know, even if it's religion, maybe it's Pastor Furtick, maybe it's Joel Osteen, maybe it's T.D. Jakes. Find a mentor on YouTube because it's free, and find out what's wrong with you. So when you're reading a book every month, make sure it's helping you. Now, me, I read 3 books a month because I'm a part of Team New Vision, which gives me a book of the month. I'm part of a mastermind group, which gives me another book of the month. And then I always pick up a book that has to do with me because I want to get better. And nobody knows what's wrong with me. Well, it's a couple people that know what's wrong with me, but I know what's wrong with me more than anybody else does. And don't put in the chat what's wrong with me if you know. So schedule time to listen or read. Schedule time to listen or read. And then, of course, we went into that good old soul cleansing, of course, last week. And we talked about releasing negative habits, letting go of false beliefs and ideologies. We talked about distancing yourself from inauthentic friends. And we talked about moving away from anything or anybody that does not deserve you. And I hope you guys all took that the right way. So we've been giving away some books on the personal development side. So Miss Wilma Haynes, your book, Conquer Fear, is on the way to you. She won that book. So congratulations, Miss Wilma Haynes. And that book is on its way to you. It's by Lisa Jimenez. And if you have not read that book is about self-sabotage. So it's a really great book talking about how you stop from sabotaging your own success. And even if success means being a great husband or a great wife, or a great mother or a great father. So it's not everything is not always about success, but there are success examples, religious examples, all in this book. I've read this book several times. It's a really great read, and it's got some really great examples. And if you're into psychology and understanding how you can subconsciously be self-sabotaging yourself, self-sabotaging your relationships. You wouldn't believe how many people date people and they tell themselves that they're not worthy of the person that they're dating, and they end up being what? Not worthy of the person that they're dating. So self-sabotage is just not in the success realm of business, it's in the success realm of people in general. And for anybody on this Zoom right now, has anybody texting them about how to get on? They can still register and then click the link. Register and then they'll get an email, because I do not have it posted anywhere, the actual link, because I found out that's how people keep showing up with the same name. So I had to stop doing that because it's not populating correctly, and we don't know how to fix that. So I stopped doing it that way. So they need to register through the link through Facebook or wherever, and then they'll get an email and they can jump on that way, because I'm getting a lot of text messages, but I have to ignore them out, obviously, because we're on this training at this point. So maybe they're communicating with you as well. So again, congratulations, Miss William Haynes. We also have Miss Jody out of Wisconsin. She won the book by Trevor Moawad, It Takes What It Takes. And we'll be doing some more giveaways here, of course, here coming up in the next week or two. But those two books were given away, and this is always the gift that keeps on giving, because when you read those books, you're a better person. If you don't know what that book is about, we talked about some of this last week. It Takes What It Takes. It's about neutral thinking. So, and it is also talking about this as well. So what that book is about is what these next couple of slides are about, which is choice is an illusion. We elaborated on choice being illusion. This last week, we talked about choice being an illusion, because some people seem to think for some strange reason that they can get to where they want to get to, but do whatever they want. And that's just not a reality. So let's take a system that you could be in. So if you're on the line and you say, hey, I'm in network marketing, and I know that I know network marketers have a system. I know that if you're a personal trainer, you have a system that you have to go by, especially if you're opening up a gym, or if you got personal clients. If you don't follow that system, you won't have success. And if you do have success still, it'll be limited success. So what I want you to understand is that when I say choice is an illusion, choice is an illusion because people who say, I want to make $1 million a year, they don't have a choice to do certain things. A person that wants to make $1 million a year cannot watch television all day. A man that says, I want to be the best husband I can be, shouldn't be at a strip club. That's not a good choice to make. So when I say choice is an illusion, right? I'm saying that, yes, you can still make a choice, but the choice that you choose to make is very limited based on where you're looking to go in life. So that's why we say choice is an illusion, because you have to make choices based on the goals that you have set. And we also talked about neutral thinking, and neutral thinking is what? This gear shift, knowing that if you cannot think positively because you don't know how to yet, right? I do not know how to think positively yet. If you don't know how to think positively, if you don't know how to do affirmations, if you're saying, hey, I don't have that much willpower yet, I'm not that confident yet, then guess what? We understand that, and we know that you can't go from reverse to drive without going to neutral first. So neutral thinking is really about saying, hey, look, let me not think negative. I may not know how to think positive, but let me not think negative. And the example I gave last week was simply this. If you get up in the morning and you eat a bag of Doritos, if you get up in the morning and you eat some sweet, unhealthy deal, right? Some dessert food, right? You get up and you got a piece of cheesecake that you didn't eat for dinner last night, and you eat it for breakfast. You're starting your day off negative, and now you got to do a bunch of positive things to get you back to neutral. And that's not good. That's not good. So instead of you getting up and eating the cheesecake and then saying, okay, well, I'm going to eat vegetables for lunch. I'm going to eat vegetables for dinner. I'm going to drink a protein shake. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that to get yourself back to neutral. How about you just don't eat the Doritos? There's probably a better deal for you to just not eat the Doritos or just not eat that piece of cheesecake. Get up, and if you're going to eat breakfast, eat a healthy breakfast. Now you're starting off in a good place, which is also what we're going to talk about next week when we're talking about getting up and checking your phone, something you shouldn't be doing. You shouldn't be getting up and checking your phone unless you got some circumstance that you really need to be checking. Outside of that, don't get up and check your phone, because as soon as you get up, what are you doing? You're putting your brain in a position to say, when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I'm going to do is see what people want from me. And instead of me doing what I need to be doing, I'm going to do what other people need me to do, which is not a good place to be in. So moving on, I gave you guys just kind of some takeaways last week. And we talked about in the addition to language, what do you do, right? Instead of just changing your language, what else can you do? You want to determine who you become, right? Who I become in the future, meaning my behavior. Like your behavior determines where you end up. So when I say wherever you're at in life today is based on every decision you made before today, that's why I say that. I make those statements because your behavior has gotten you where you're at. Your behavior will get you where you're at in the future. So you can say whatever you want. You can open your mouth and say, I'm a leader, but if you don't do what leaders do, then you're not a leader. I know Eric Thomas, the hip hop preacher, says, he's got several videos where he says, everybody wants to be a beast, right? They got these t-shirts with lions on them and lions killing what do you call it? Antelope, or the other animal that they chase all the time on Discovery Channel. And they got these on their shirt and on their Facebook page and on their profile picture and on their cell phone. And everybody wants to be a beast until it's time to do what beasts do. And that's when we talk about behavior, like, are you behaving like you say you want to do? Like, I want to earn 6 figures in a network marketing company. But you're watching television all day long. You're hanging out with your family all day long. You're not doing 3-way calls. You're not inviting people to meetings, right? You're not getting on trainings that happen in that industry. I want to be the next LA Fitness. I'm a personal fitness trainer. I want to be the next LA Fitness. Well, what are you doing with your time? Are you building a business plan so that you can open up a gym? Are you increasing your customer base so that you have a customer base growing so that when you start a gym, you can get people enrolled into your gym right away? You're a realtor, you're selling $150,000 properties, but you want to go up to properties that are worth $500,000. What are you doing to do that? What are you doing to understand what it takes to sell a property that costs $500,000 versus one that costs $150,000? So your behavior determines where you end up in life. And lastly, not as important as what I don't is what you want. So you got to start creating a to-do list and a not to-do list. You got to start asking yourself, why, right? Why am I doing this? What's my why? But you got to also ask yourself, what's your why not? What is my why not? Why won't I do this? And that's really important for you to remember as you build in your entrepreneurial space. So moving into some of today's material, there is only 24 hours in your day, right? But not mine, because I'm a day bender. I'm a day bender. So what I want to show you all is how you can bend your day and put yourself in a position where you get more hours in the day psychologically. So before I pull this PowerPoint down, and don't worry about the PowerPoint, guys, because I always send you all the PowerPoint. If you haven't been getting the PowerPoint, let me know, because that means you're not in my system or something like that. But you should be getting the PowerPoint every time. So it says 5-day work week as a day bender. So if you see these numbers, right, you see what it says, keep calm is only math. Don't worry about it. I'm not going to math y'all to death. I'm not going to put y'all to sleep with math. But you see what it says? 6-hour day times 2, which is twice in one day, equals 2 days, right? Now, if this doesn't make sense to you, go in that chat box and let me know, hey, this is not making sense. I don't understand what you're talking about, right? Hold on, let me move this over here. Thank you, it's a gazelle. Thank you, Bob Fraser. A gazelle. Hold on, yep. Great answers, guys. And thanks for putting things on here. Thanks for putting things on here. Thanks for being transparent on here, guys. Appreciate you all. Good stuff, good stuff, good stuff. Keep it coming, keep writing stuff. Good. This is great. This is awesome. This is awesome. All right, excellent. Sorry about that, guys. I just wanted to make sure I read some of those chats I saw pulling up there. All right, so hold on, let me drop this. Okay, somebody said please explain. Let me drop this over here on the side. So this is what I mean. When I'm saying day bender, guys, what I'm about to show you all how to do is how to compile. So let me give you an example. So if you were running, and I got this example from Ed Miley. If you were running a 100-mile dash, excuse me, not a 100-yard dash, 100-mile dash. Good luck with that. 100-yard dash, right? If you're running a 100-yard dash, you pretty much, when that gun goes off, you're going to dash. You're going to run full speed. And you're going to run all the way until it's over with to win that race, because it's a short race. It's a 100-yard dash, and it's meant for you to run fast. And if you guys can follow me on this, go to that chat box and let me know you understand what I'm talking about, so I know y'all getting the point. So a 100-yard dash is about you running full speed. Boom, gun goes off, first one to the end, that's who wins, right? Now, what happens if I told you that we were going to run a half a marathon? What happened if I told you that we were going to do 100? Like for me, for those that are familiar with the NRC, which is the Nike Run Club, right? So I have an Apple Watch, and I'm part of the Nike Run Club. So I run about 140 miles a month. So I'm in a 100K club with the Nike Run Club. So it's me and probably 90,000 other people across across the world, not the United States, across the world, that are part of that runs this 100 miles a month. And if I decided I was going to run a half a marathon, I would have to pace myself. And why am I pacing myself? Because I cannot run full speed for a half a marathon. But I can for a 100-yard dash. So I'm giving you this example because what do we do at the end of the month if you're in a company or in a business where you have a quota? We run at the end of the month. We qualify for whatever we need to qualify for the last 3 days in the month. In the first 27, we do nothing. Now, we say we're doing stuff, but we're not really doing stuff, right? So what we want to do is we want to make sure, hold on, somebody's writing on my screen. Hold on. Let me stop y'all from using this annotation because y'all messing up my screen over here. Oh, I feel like a school teacher. I got to erase stuff off the board. Ha ha. Y'all are too funny. Hold on one second. Let me make sure. Y'all so crazy. I love y'all to death. Writing on y'all, writing on my whiteboard. Sorry, y'all. So catching up to where I was at, you know, on the 100-yard dash in the half a marathon, you're condensing, right? Like you're going faster because it's a shorter amount of time. So what happens at the end of the month is our brain says, oh, you didn't work, you didn't qualify yet. So you know what? Guess what? You got 3 days to do it. And guess what? You won that in that 3 days. So in the chat box, let me know if somewhere in your life, it doesn't have to be business. It could be family. It could be going to work. It could be showing up somewhere. Put in the chat box. If you had situations that happen in your life where you wait until the last minute and you get all the stuff done that you had a month to do in a day, right? College finals, great, Kamala. That's funny. I was just talking to somebody yesterday about that, right? You cram at the last minute. Why do you do that? Why do you cram at the last minute? Because you wait until it's too late and then you do it. But guess what that tells you? That you can actually do that amount of work in that amount of time. So what happens is things start happening. You get busy and you say, well, I got a week left, right? I got 5 days left. I have 3 days left. I got 2 days left. And on that last day, you shut everything down and you spend 24 hours. You get no sleep. You eating, you snacking with Chex Mix, trying to finish off something that you had 60 days to do. And I'm looking at the chat and you guys understand that. Okay, so I need you guys to understand that concept first. And let me tell you why. Day bending is about you stacking 2 days into one. Yes, this is recorded. It's about you stacking 2 days into one. And I'm going to show you guys how to do that. How to stack 2 days into one. So we call it day bending. Now, you can actually do more than that. I just don't want to overwhelm by doing the 3. So it says 6-hour day times 2, which is twice in 1 day. So how do you do that? So let's say you go to bed at 12 midnight and you get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Now, some of y'all need 8 hours of sleep, so y'all may go to bed at 10 and get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. It doesn't matter what time you get up. That's not the conversation we're having. It's about how you use that time. So for an example, let's say you got up at 6 o'clock in the morning. What you would do is you would say, okay, I'm going to work, I'm going to take 6 hours, and from 6 o'clock in the morning to 12 o'clock, I'm working. And it doesn't matter what you're working on. So when I say a 6-hour work day, it doesn't always mean all work, guys. I mean, you're bending your day. So if your day is, I spend time with my spouse, I go to my kid's soccer game, I have a book that I'm reading as well, it doesn't matter. It's all part of your day. So I'm not saying work 18 hours a day. That's not what I'm telling you to do. What I'm telling you to do is stack your days so that I want you to fool yourself into believing that you're on a 100-yard dash, but you're really running a half a marathon so that you run full speed ahead the entire time. Because what's going to happen is you're not going to get all of it done, but you're going to get a lot more done than you normally do. Hope you guys understand that. So the second bullet point, it says 2 days per day times 6 days ends up being 12 days a week, if that makes sense. Right? So look, guys, whether it's this slide or that slide, don't worry about it. See how I move the slides? This is just the difference between the 5-day and the 6-day. And that's the all, whether you, because some people just say, hey, I'm only working 5 days a week. If all you're gonna work is 5 days a week, then you're gonna use the numbers from this. If you're gonna do working 6 days a week, boom. But it's simple math. So even if you're gonna do 7 days a week, guess what? You're gonna do those numbers. You're gonna have this slideshow, so don't worry about it. So 6-hour day times 2, 2 days per day. 2 days per day times 6 days is 12 days per week. I hope you guys are following that. So what I'm saying by saying that is, if you have 6-hour days and you do 2 6-hour days in 1 day, you really took a day And in 12 hours of that one day, within 12 hours, you did 2 days of work. Now, again, you're not going to actually complete it all, but you're going to get a lot more done. The same way that if you was running like a 100-yard dash on a half a marathon, what would happen is you would get further. You would get to the end faster because you tricked yourself into believing this, right? Okay, so the second bullet point, what does it mean? 2 days per day, 6 and 6, times the 6 days a week, which means for 6 days, you had 2 days of work. So really you got 12 days of work in on 1 week instead of 6 days. The third bullet point says 12 days per week times 4 weeks, which is now 48 days a month. Look, guys, it's only 31 days in a month at most, but you're getting 48 days out of the month. You're getting 48 days out of the month. You're going to get 60 days out the month if you decide that you're going to work 7 days a week. The last bullet point says 48 days a month times 12 months is 576 days. How many days in a year, guys? 365, right? 365 days a year, except for a leap year. But I'm going to show you how to make 576 days working 6 days a week. So you're not even working every day, and you're still making up 576 days per year following this system. So how are we going to do that? We are going to use the sense of urgency vacuum. That's how we're going to get this done. So let me move my little chat box here so I can. Oh, let me read this quote real quick. Jim Rohn, without a sense of urgency, desire loses its value. Desire loses its value. So what does it say? Mindset continues to be the focus as it does in all my training material. The sense of urgency vacuum is just a way to train your brain that you have a limited amount of time to accomplish said goals or said goal. If your brain feels as if you have a deadline, it will automatically respond with a sense of urgency. So go ahead and put in the chat box if you agree with that. If your brain feels as if you have a deadline, it automatically responds with a sense of urgency. So most of you guys all know that, right? Because you're probably doing that in the world of whatever you're in right now today. So how is this going to work? Increasing that productivity. Increasing that productivity. So sense of urgency vacuum, 5 to 6 day work week, right? You're going to increase your production by 31% if you've got a 5-day work week. You're going to increase it by 57% if you have a 6-day work week. So how are we going to stack this? So how are we going to do it? So what you're going to do is you're going to take your calendar or your to-do list, however you operate. Some people operate with the calendar. Some people operate with a to-do list. So let's take, and I'm going to start calling names out because I know who's pretty much on here because I can see names, right? So Valerie Cooper has a to-do list with 15 items on it. I am going to do this on Monday morning. Now she has a to-do list for Tuesday that says on Tuesday, this is what I'm going to accomplish. And if you don't have that in place, guys, then you need to go back to the training that me and Sharanda Ivy did for setting SMART goals. That's why I did that training first. Got me? So you need to be setting goals. You need to be setting up, do a to-do list. So Valerie has a to-do list for Monday, a to-do list for Tuesday, a to-do list for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Don't make me sing it to y'all, right? So what is Valerie going to do now? Valerie is going to say, you know what? Let me take my Monday and Tuesday to-do list, and I'm going to do 6 hours from 6 a.m. to 12 noon. I'm going to work on the to-do list for Monday. Then I'm going to take a break for an hour, right? And if you're a person that takes a nap, I take a nap. So if you take a nap, maybe you're going to take a nap for 2 hours. Maybe you lay down at 12 o'clock and you lay down from 12 to 2, or you lay down from 12 to 1, and you get up and you have a snack, and at 2 o'clock, you start back working, and then from 2 o'clock to 8 o'clock, you work on the second to-do list. You guys follow me? So now I've taken Monday and Tuesday and put it all in Monday. I put it all in Monday. Now, somebody's going to say, you know what? but I'm not going to be able to get all of that done. You're correct. You're not going to get it all done. Probably not. But you're going to be way ahead of the game by doing it that way, because what you've told your brain is that there's a sense of urgency, because you've now taken a list that you had a full day to do and said, oh, I've only got 6 hours to do this. And your brain kicks into that mode, right? Your brain kicks into here. Look, if your brain feels as if you have a deadline, it will automatically respond with a sense of urgency. So that's why I call this training your brain. That's why we call this training your brain, because you're training your brain. You're tricking your brain into producing for you. And see, the problem is most of us, we don't train our brain. What we're doing is we're allowing our brain to make all the decisions based on what it thinks we need. Right? So let me go back. So now I'm saying, okay, Monday and Tuesday's list, I did on Monday. Well, I had 15 things on each list, which was 30 things. And I actually only got to 22 out of the 30. So what am I going to do about the other 8? You're going to add them to Wednesday's list. So if you have 15 for Wednesday and 15 for Thursday, you now have 15 plus 15, which is 30, plus the 8 you didn't finish, which is 38. And what you're going to do is you're going to take those 38 items from Wednesday and Thursday, and you're going to put them on Tuesday's list from 6 to 12, and then from 2 to 8, if that's the time frame you're using. All you guys are getting this, right? And what you're doing is you're bending your day. You're tricking your brain into believing that you're out of time, and your brain is working in overdrive, and you're getting more work done. You're not completing the list, but you're getting more work done. So that's why I put this statistic here. A 5 to 6 day work week, you're going to increase your production by 31%. You're going to increase it by 31 to 57% increase. So let's look at that increase. Look at the second bullet point. If you were making $50,000 a year at your job, with your business, and your network marketing company, and your catering business, and your personal fitness training company that you have, right? If you're making $50,000 a year as a realtor, a 31 to 57% increase in production will take you from 50,000 to between 65,000 and 78,000. If you wouldn't mind your income taking that jump, put that in the chat box. We talked about increasing your production and changing your income $15,000 to $28,000 more than what it was. You see that third bullet point? You don't really have more time. You're just tricking your brain into believing that there's a sense of urgency, and now your brain gets you to focus on that, right? So the last bullet point, we just turned our 5K run, our sprint, into a 100-yard dash, but in your brain. That's what we just did. In our brains, we just turned a 5K run, which you would be sprinting, you just turned that into what? A 100-yard dash in your brain. Good stuff. You guys are getting this. I see it. I see the post, right? I see the chat. So let's look at course correcting yourself more often. So as we build a business, we need to course correct ourselves, right? Course correct, constantly course correct ourselves. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. The vision is true north of the soul. So anybody know anything about compasses and finding direction and taking the course? Look, the vision is the true north for the soul. It is a permanent, intuitive compass direction for a human being. Every person inevitably strays from the path. Life is an endless experiment in course correction. The vision brings one back to the true path. Thomas G. Bandy, right? So let's talk about course correction and how you can get the most out of it. Most out of course correction. So how often are you doing a plan, do, review with an emphasis on review? How often are you doing that? So let's look at an example. Example number one. If I have an income goal of $100,000 over the next 12 months, I would need to make $8,333.33 a month, which is really on a breakdown, $278 a day, which on a weekly basis happens to be $1,946 a week. Why am I breaking those numbers down? Because you cannot what? Increase or decrease what you do not track. You got to know the numbers. You got to know the breakdown of the numbers, because how do you course correct if you don't? If I check my numbers every day, and I need you to put that on your calendar. So for anybody that's going to put that on their calendar, go to the chat box and let me know. Putting it on my calendar. I need you to put on your calendar, put an alarm in your cell phone to go off at some point in the day to say, check my numbers for the day. Check my numbers for the day. Put that on your calendar. As a matter of fact, I'm going to give you 30 seconds to do it right now. I'm going to stop right now. I'm going to give you 30 seconds right now. Go to your calendar and put on your calendar. I don't care what time. You can do it at 10 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock in the morning. Do it while you're taking your lunch break. Put some kind of an alarm to check your numbers. What do I mean by check your numbers? If you're in, it depends on what your numbers are. So let's say I'm a personal trainer and I'm saying, I'm advertising to do some kind of Zumba or personal fitness class, and I'm trying to get people enrolled in my class to Eventbrite or whatever. So check your numbers every day. Check your numbers every day. Are the numbers going up? And if they're not going up to what you want, so let's say you say I'm doing a class on Saturday, and it's going to be a fitness class because everything's closed. Well, everything's not closed anymore, but you know, for those that are in areas that everything's closed, check this out. I'm going to do a class on Saturday. In order for this to be a successful class for me, I needed to be about 70 people online to take this class. Well, I'm looking at my numbers every day, because if my numbers aren't going up, I need to do something to course correct that so that I end up with 70 people, right? So if you're in network marketing and you're saying, well, my numbers could be what? How many people you recruiting? How many memberships you selling? It could be you checking your commission statement. When I was running for my ring, my 100K ring, I shouldn't say when I was running, because I'm running for a 150K ring now. But when I was running for my 100K ring, I was looking at my commission statement and my residual income every single day. And I'm gonna show you why, because I'm gonna show you in examples why I was doing that. So that's why I'm saying check your numbers daily. You gotta track your business daily, right? It's just like if you're married, don't you check on your spouse? And if you don't, shame on you. You should be texting your spouse and saying, hey, are you good? Like, did you need anything? How's your day going? It's communication. You cannot increase what you do not track. So how are you married to somebody? You're not in their presence all day because they're where they're at and you're where you're at, but you're not checking on them. Mothers, you check on your kids. Some of y'all checking on y'all kids and they grown. Some of y'all got sons and daughters that are married to somebody and living in their own house, and you still checking on them every day. Why is that? Because you put it in your mental capacity that I care enough about this thing, this person, this child, this spouse, enough to check on them every day. Yes or yes? So that's why you do it. So you should be doing the same thing with your numbers. So if I check my numbers every day, so put it on your calendar, and I made less than $278 a day, it gives me the opportunity to course correct daily, guys, which is much easier to manage than if it falls behind or excuse me, let me back up. It gives me the opportunity to course correct daily, which is much easier to manage. And if it falls behind, I can set a new goal, right? So you want to make sure that you're making sure that if you have to course correct or if you're doing better and you're setting new goals. And I'm gonna show you an example. So I'm gonna actually show you physical examples in the slideshow of how that's gonna work. So, example number 2, day 1, right? Remember, the daily goal is 278 a day. Now, I don't care what you're doing. I don't care whether you're a fitness trainer. I don't care if you're a realtor. I don't care if you're in network marketing. I don't care if you own a catering company. It doesn't matter. $100,000 a year is $100,000 a year. Yes or yes? So you need to make 278 a day in order to make $100,000 a year. So let's say on day 1, you make $238. On day 2, you make $178. On day 3, you make $313. On day 4, you make $200. On day 5, you make $426. On day 6, you make $37. On day 7, you make $84. That means you made $1,476 for the week. So let's look at the conclusion. On the second line, it says you need to be making $1,946 a week to be on track. So that means that I fell short, which is why I have that in red. I have it in red because it fell short, right? So I went through that. Now, this is checking it for the week. So look, at the end of the week, look at the conclusion. At the end of the week, you've missed your goal by $470. And what was your goal? Your goal was 278 a day, which is 1946 a week, but you only made 1476. So if you would have checked your numbers daily, right? Clarence, Shannon, Carol, if you would have checked your numbers daily, you could have course corrected a few dollars at a time. So an example, $40 on day 1, now you're only making up $40 because on Monday night you checked your numbers and you said, you know what? I should have made 278 today, but I made 238, so I'm $40 short. How am I gonna make this $40 up tomorrow? Depends on what industry you're in, how you do that. It depends on what industry you're in. So instead of looking to recover a total of 470 for the week, now you're looking at, okay, I'm correcting my $40 today. I'm correcting $100 on Tuesday. Got that, Trent? So this is what it's about, guys. This is what it's about. It's about understanding that you got to check your numbers every day. So come on, let's go to example number 3. So on example number 3, now we're doing better, guys. We're going to do better, right? Day 1, 526. Day 2, 419. Day 3, 313. Day 4, 249. Day 5, 773. Day 6, 637. Day 7, 211. We made $3,128 for the week. What was the goal for the week, guys? Look at the second line under conclusion. 1946. 1946 is what I was supposed to be making to reach my goal. But I made $3,128. So I crushed the goal. So what does it say? At the end of the week, you crushed your goal by $1,182. Above and beyond. Above and beyond. So what does that mean? If you would have checked your numbers daily, you could have set a new goal or a new goal date. When somebody says, I didn't even know I got the ring. I didn't even know I made $150,000 this year. I didn't even know I made $200,000 this year. You know what that told me? You didn't check your numbers, because how did you make $100,000 and not know you did? So look, if you would have checked your numbers daily, you could have set a new goal or set a new goal date. An example, $248 on day 1, right? 526 and 278. That's where the 248 comes from. So what I did was I said, okay, I was supposed to make 278, but I made 526, which means I made over in abundance. So let's just say, for an example, that I fell short the next day and I made $39 the next day. I know that I'm still good because I made in excess of 248 the day before. So now I know my numbers are still on point. So now I'm not depressed because I made $13. So let me shift this a little bit into weight loss. So I can always maneuver my numbers when it comes to weight loss because I calculate everything. So I hear people say, you shouldn't get on the scale every day. I don't agree with that because I need to check my numbers every day. Now, if you're telling me that I'm checking my numbers every day and I'm getting depressed, you need to see somebody because you can't lose weight and not be looking at what you weigh every day to see whether it's working or not, because if it's not working, you need to change the plan. And you can't change the plan if you're checking your weight once a month. So you got to know the cycles. I know the cycles. So I know if I get up and I weigh 209 pounds and then I check my weight later on that day and I'm 211 pounds, I know that there's water retention and all that other kind of stuff. But how do I know that? I know that because I check my weight every day, and I had to ask myself, why is my weight fluctuating during the day 4 and 5 pounds? Why? Because of water retention. So how do you learn why your business is fluctuating if you don't check the numbers every day? How do you know? You won't know. So an example, $248 on day one, I was over and above my goal, which could have allowed me to feed the momentum immediately instead of waiting until it slowed down. So now the month ends and you say, man, I was supposed to be making $8,333 this month. My team was killing it. My other trainers was killing it, right? My real estate team was killing it. And we made $17,000 this month, more than double what we were supposed to make. The question is, did you miss the momentum that was happening all month? Where you could have actually made $27,000 in 1 month, but when the momentum was going on, instead of you feeding that or in the middle of the month saying, you know what, I'm getting my team together on a call and we're gonna really pump this up because everybody's numbers are up, everybody's excited, so let's do a call tomorrow and get everybody excited. I missed that opportunity because I checked my numbers at the end of the month. I checked my numbers at the end of the week instead of checking my numbers every day. It's got to be on your calendar to check your numbers every day if you want your business to grow. It's not going to happen any other way, right? So keeping track of your numbers. You cannot increase what you do not track. It's imperative that you keep track of your numbers through some system. I use the ring earner chart network marketing. You can use software in other industries. If you don't have the money for software, use a calendar, electronic or paper. Keep track of your numbers or income. Whatever you are looking to increase daily, you got to keep track of it. If you guys agree with that, drop yes or yes in that chat box. You got to make sure that you keep track of whatever those numbers are. Your numbers are whatever they are. Your numbers could be new clients. Your numbers could be people registering for a training that you're doing. Your numbers could be how many memberships I sold today. Your numbers could be how many people I recruited this month. Your numbers could be how much money I made today. Your numbers could be whatever you want them to be. Whatever drives your business are your numbers, but you gotta count them every single day. Every industry has its own software that you can utilize to keep track or to grow your numbers, without a doubt. So let's talk about bending your day, right? Getting close to close now. It's 10:17, got about 13 minutes left, guys. Bending your day. So, and this is kind of like, I'm kind of closing out here, right? Go to your calendar, to your to-do list, and start stacking your day. I need you to start doing that immediately, Gene. I need you to start doing that immediately, Jim Hicks. I need you to start doing that immediately, Wilma. I need you to start stacking your days. You should be able to fit your entire week into Monday through Wednesday. So, Miss Marguerite, the ring earner chart that I'm talking about, that's on the Facebook page. So if you go to the Becoming an Entrepreneur Facebook page, you go to the file section, you'll see a ring earner chart there. So right now, it's Wednesday. So if you started doing this tomorrow and you said, okay, I'm gonna take my Thursday and Friday stuff and I'm gonna make it just Thursday. I'm gonna take my my Saturday and Sunday things and make them just Friday. You guys follow what I'm saying? So in the beginning of next week, you should be able to fit your entire to-do list for the whole week into Monday through Wednesday. The longest it should take you is Thursday. So if it took you to Thursday to get through your whole week, what did you do? You freed up 3 days, guys. You're giving yourself back 3 days to get work done. More work done. Don't forget, if you complete everything, if you don't complete everything, no worries. It's not about perfection, guys. It's about progress. It's about progress. So let me give you a story. So, hold on, let me drop this real quick. You guys excited this week? Big deal on the chats, guys. You guys are knocking it out. So check this out. So when I started intermittent fasting, so a lot of you all know, because I pretty much talk about what I'm doing. I'm always real time. And I told a story about I'm not a faster. I got 2 sisters that fast all the time. They do water fast. They're in New York. And they always like, will you fast with us? And I'm like, nope, I'm not fasting. I used to religiously fast, but I don't like to be told I can't eat food for a certain amount of time because I'm a snacker. I eat all day long. I literally eat all day long. I work from home, and even when I'm on the road or whatever, like if you ever check my car, I got a cooler in the back seat. I got all the snacks I eat. I got cold stuff in my cooler. I got like bags in my trunk and bags in my back seat of things that I eat. I travel with that stuff. When I go to my hotel room for 2 or 3 days, everything that's at my house, I have in my hotel room. So if you checked my hotel room, you would see the same things because I carry them with me, right? I buy 2 or 3 of everything and I carry it with me. I'm just weird like that, right? So I snack all day long. So I'm like, I can't fast. Like, I just don't work for me. So I said, well, let me look into it because I'm saying that I can't do it and I can't be telling people to think positive and I'm not thinking positive. I can't say do affirmations and me not do affirmations and make changes that I should make in my life. So I got stuck. I hit a plateau. I'm 247 pounds. I'm getting down to I said I was going to get down to 230 pounds. I did that. I'm going to get down to 220 pounds. I did that. Then I said I'm going to get down to 210 pounds. I did that. Then I said I'm going to go down to 200 pounds. And I've been at between 208 and 210, I don't know, maybe a month or 2. And I'm like, okay, let me try intermittent fasting. Maybe that'll help. Because I got, because what do we do? You do the same thing and it doesn't help. What's going to happen? That means insanity, right? So I'm expecting a different result when I'm doing the same thing. I don't change my diet. I don't change how much I exercise. I don't change how much I walk, but I'm looking to change my weight down 10 more pounds. Make sense? Yes, yes. So I said, maybe I'll try something different. Try intermittent fasting. So I started doing the intermittent fasting, and I said, well, I'm only gonna do 6 hours a day, like 6, because I can't do no more than that. So I was like, okay, I did 6 hours a day one day. Then the next day I was like, you know what? That wasn't that bad. I could do 8 hours. So then I moved it to 8 hours, and now I'm at 12. Now I'm between 12 and 14 hours a day. Well, I still look at stuff on intermittent fasting. I'm still, looking at videos and, what can you eat and drink during intermittent fasting that doesn't does not interrupt your fasting. And there's a lot of stuff you can listen to for that. I'm not going to get into that because that's not what we're talking about. But I found that there's things that you can drink during your fast and eat during your fast that doesn't break your fast because of, there's no carbs in it or it's not enough calories or whatever scientific stuff, right? Health stuff. But I also found that there were some things that I was doing during my fast that was affecting my fast negatively. And when I found that out, I was like, well, I'm doing this stuff and it's affecting my fast negatively, but the fast is still working. I'm still losing weight. I'm still feeling better. All the benefits, your insulin levels, and I've got osteoarthritis in my left leg. So, every now and then my leg, it'll bother me once or twice a month. My knee may swell up on me a little bit once or twice a month, but none of that was happening. So all of the benefits for me fasting was happening, even though I was messing my fast up on some days. It was some days that I would be busy doing stuff where I have a hard workout. I'm like, I can't do this today. And I'm shut my fast down for the rest of that day. And I fasted for 7 hours and then I started eating. So I didn't do the full day fast. And you would think that those things would affect a whole lot. But what I realized was that, no, it didn't. It didn't affect a whole lot because the bulk of what I was doing, trying to do, I was doing. So it doesn't matter whether it's your business, whether it's family, whether it's like, right? If you're doing the right 80% of the time, 70% of the time, you're going to be good. So even though I was messing my fast up, the fast was still working. And it was still working because I still was taking in less calories. I still was giving my body a chance to burn fat when I wasn't putting food in it that it wouldn't have normally burned because I was eating. So it was waiting for me to eat and then burning that food and that fat as energy. And now I'm not eating. So my stomach is, my body is saying, well, he's not going to eat for 12 hours or 8 hours or however long. So I guess we need to stop burning our reserves. And it was making me lose weight. So and I tell you this story for a reason. I wasn't perfect with the intermittent fasting, but it was still working. Because for the most part, I was doing it correct. I just was making some errors. And it's the same thing. When you binge your day and you stack your to-do list or you stack your calendar, you're not going to get it all done, but you're going to still increase your productivity. Even at the end of the day, you say, okay, I took 7 days of work and I crammed it into 5 days and got it done. What did that do? That gave you 2 extra days to do more work, to spend with your family, to maybe catch up on some rest you may need, maybe to spend some time. Maybe you need to spend more time with your spouse to salvage your marriage. So if you can do that with the extra day or two, because you got all your work done. So it's not always about just doubling your work so that you can double your profits. Sometimes it's about giving you time freedom. So when I'm telling you to stack your days, you do what you want to with the free time. It's not always about producing extra income. It's not always about building an empire. It's great if you are, but it's not always about that. So use that time to do whatever you want. Yes or yes? All right, so let me go to this slide. What we got on time? Got about 5 minutes left. Okay. Almost done, guys. Almost done. Almost done. Okay, so tracking your numbers daily. Start by using a journal, a notepad or a calendar, paper or electronic. Now, remember when you're tracking your numbers, it can be tedious, but it will assist you in increasing your production or allow you to course correct if your production is decreasing. Remember, you cannot increase or decrease what? What you do not track. Another story. So when I was running for my ring, the 100K ring, I was using my ring on the charts. And the point of me using my ring on the charts were because I wanted to make sure that, let me drop this. I hate talking to y'all like this and not being on screen. Sorry about that. So when I was using my ring on the charts, which I don't have one of them near me right now, but I will pick it up for you. But most of y'all seen it before. If you haven't seen it, again, go to the page, go to the Becoming an Entrepreneur page and pull it there. Make sure you join the page. And you can go to click on files and you can pick it up there. But when I was running for the ring, originally, like when I was running for my 50K ring, before I understood a ring on the chart, before I had those numbers to look at, I would just run. And it was so much easier when I had numbers and I was able to say, oh, you know what? Now I can track my numbers every day. So let's say it was Monday and I needed to make on a 100K ring, $278 that day. And I made $313. I had in my head, 313 take away 278, whatever that excess is. I'm putting that in the back of my mind, right? And you can write it on paper if you can't keep it in the back of your mind. Okay, I've got this leverage. I've got this leverage. That means if I fall short on a day, $10, I know I'm still good because I went over 13 bucks. If you guys understand that, put a thumbs up or yes or something in the chat box, right? So again, it's keeping me sane because I'm looking at my numbers. It's keeping me sane. And see, guys, you got to realize psychologically, you guys got to understand your psychology runs everything, guys. Why does a rich person jump off a bridge when something happens to them? Psychological. It's psychological, guys. They have all the money they need. So why are they jumping off a bridge? Because something happened. because psychologically they didn't know how to do it. You're running for a ring and you're upset because you had a short day. And you're like, you know what? I didn't make what I was supposed to make today. And now you're all in your feelings. You're feeling bad about yourself. You're talking to people. You know, you're pushing your team and talking to them like you're cracking a whip because you're trying to make up the other money. And guess what? You could have simply kept track of your own numbers and realized that, you know what? 3 days last week, I went over $50. So I actually got a $150 bumper there. You guys follow that? Because I'm keeping track of my numbers. That's why it's important to keep track of your numbers. One of the reasons why it's important to keep track of your numbers. Also, what I was able to do was shorten. So I'm still on my story, right? Me and my stories, right? I'm going over time. So for those that also know, I had surgery in September of last year. So September 25th of last year, I had surgery. And about 2 weeks before that surgery, maybe a week before that surgery, I was in Maryland and I was talking to Tracy Self. And if you don't know who that is, don't worry about it. If you don't know who it is, you just don't know who it is. But for those who know who Tracy Self, I was talking to Tracy Self and she was like, is everything good? And I was like, no, everything not good, really, because I'm trying to get my 100K ring in the beginning of November. I mean, at the last week of October, so that I can have my ring the first week. It can be announced the first week in November. But I'm going to have surgery on September 25th. And when I go have surgery, I'm going to be out of commission for about 4 weeks. I'm not going to be able to do anything. And Tracy Self said, Mr. Dunbar, you got this. Don't worry about it. You good. Like, you've been working really hard. Like, you got everything's in place. Like, just do what you've been doing and get the stuff done. Like, don't stress out about that. And I'm like, okay. And when I came back from Maryland, I pushed and I pushed and I pushed. And look, I didn't stack my calendar. I didn't do what I'm telling y'all to do. I didn't do the to-do list stacking and all that kind of stuff because I wasn't doing that then. This is new stuff. But what I did was I went out there and I ran with that same mentality. Even though I didn't stack, I didn't bend my day literally, but I did mentally because that sense of urgency was there. I was like, I don't really have until the last week of October. Because from the day I have surgery to the last week in October, I'm going to be out of commission. I'm going to be out of commission. So I'm not going to be in a position to do that. So I pushed and I pushed and I pushed. And after I had surgery, while I was laying up, while I was getting better, I knew that my numbers were going to come in because I set everything up to work the way it should work. And I gave myself the ability to do some things, because I wasn't totally out of commission. I just wasn't, I couldn't travel, I couldn't do any enrollments anywhere. I couldn't do anything like that. And for those that know, that are on this line, that are in Legal Shield, that go to the conventions, I wasn't in Utah for the convention last year. And that's why I wasn't in Utah, because I couldn't travel to Utah because that was in the first week of October. And I had just went in surgery on September 25th. So I'm tracking my numbers and I'm saying, okay, I got to track these numbers, but I got to speed up this process because I'm going to be out of commission. So I don't really have as much time as I thought I was going to have. So what I did was I tracked my numbers, I put everything on paper, and then I knew what was going to be coming in while I was out of commission, and I did those numbers. But guess what else I did in the process of doing that? I was running so hard that what I ended up doing was shortening the time I got the ring. So I actually got the ring 2 weeks faster. Why? Because I was keeping up with my numbers, and when I saw that my numbers were going higher than they should have been, I started bringing back my time. I said, okay, well, now I'm going to have the ring a week earlier than what I thought, because my numbers are higher. And then I said, okay, well, they're still higher. So now I'm gonna have so I ended up getting my ring 2 weeks before I was supposed to get the ring because of the sense of urgency in me running and me getting my numbers up. So I hope that makes sense to you guys on how that'll work for you. But if I didn't keep track of my numbers, I wouldn't have known that. I would have gotten that phone call and says, hey, I got my ring, and I would have been excited and like, oh, how did I do that so early? When I got that phone call for my ring early, 2 weeks early, I wasn't surprised. You know why I wasn't surprised? Because I knew exactly where my numbers was at because I kept track of my numbers. So it's so very important to keep track of your numbers to make sure you know exactly where you at, because you're running a business and you can't run a business and not know where your numbers are. All right, guys, so we're closing out here. So what to expect next week? recap of training your brain part 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to get into past, present, and future. And what we're going to be talking about is how every time you think about your past, I want you to use that as a learning stool for yourself. Everything that happened to you before today, right? Everything that happened to you before next week, Wednesday, I want you to learn from it so you can get better. And then I want you to look at your future with a vision board. I want you to look at your future with what you got hanging in your car, what you got on your bathroom mirror, what you have on that cell phone that you're going in 400 times a day, on Instagram that you're going on 150 times a day. And then I want you to live in the present, because we know what? The present is the gift. And we don't want you to, we want you to be the kind of person that says, I appreciate where I'm at right now. And I want to focus on that. I think Mr. Self, which is a $1 million ring earner in Legal Shield, said in one of his trainings, be where you're at. You're right here, right now. You can't live in the future and you can't live in the past. But you can learn from the past and you can build a vision. But right now, you're here. So you got to be where you're at. And then we're going to talk about why are you so available? And that's going to be a little bit of a tough conversation, because what I want to know from you guys is, why are you 40 years old? Why are you 50 years old and you available? I'm not available. I'm not available. And some of y'all probably know that because y'all probably tried to reach me before, right? I'm available to certain people. I deal with people differently based on my availability, and it's based on what their production and their success is. Why? Because I can't make time for somebody who's doing nothing and give them of my time when I'm supposed to be doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Because now I'm letting that person slow me down. It's like having that workout partner that I was talking about before. You got a workout partner, you go to the gym with that person, you say, you know what? I'm gonna take you to the gym with me. I normally lift 300, but because you with me, we're gonna put it on 100 so that you can lift that 100, and I'm just gonna do more reps. Now, what if I start doing that every day? How do I get stronger when I keep bringing you with me every day, and now I'm lifting 100 reps, doing 100 weight instead of 300 weight, because I'm trying to make sure that you got what you need? No, I can coach you so you can get to 300 or 400, and then you can work out with me. You can't work out with me when we're not the same weight. You understand what I'm saying? I can't pick up the phone and say, hey, I need to find Holly Berry. I'm gonna be a millionaire one day, so I wanna marry you now. And then I'm gonna get millionaire status, and when I do, then we'll be good. But until then, I'm gonna live off your money and just be your husband. Would that make any sense? Of course it would, right? It wouldn't, because I gotta get myself in place first. I have to get myself in place first before I expect somebody to be available to me. So now, some of you all, and I'm gonna stop here with this because I don't want to get to the training for next week. Some of you all are so available that you can't even focus. Because every time your phone rings, every time a text goes through your phone, you answering it. Because you obligated to everybody. You obligated to everybody all the time. So what happens is you can't focus on what you're doing because you're too available. People call me, I let it go to voicemail, then I check the voicemail. If I need to call them back, I call them back. If I can answer it with a text, I answer it with a text. It's not me being nasty, it's not me being mean, but I run 2 companies. I cannot answer my phone all day long and do what I do. So if I check my voicemail and you says, hey, I needed some information on this. Once I get the 10th call saying that, guess what I do? I make a video. I make a video and I put it online, and I'm like, now somebody texts me and says, hey, I need some help with this. Here's the video link. Because I want to help, but I can't give all of my time up for that. Does that make sense? So I hope that makes sense to you guys. So we're closing out, guys. I am going to open up for some Q&A for the ones that want to stay on. So if you want to stay on and ask questions, I always allow that. But the training part is over. I'm always, you know, with the Q&A, you can stay on as long as you want with that. That's fine. But remember here, guys, please, if you want to get notifications via text, if you don't want notifications via text, it's fine. If you want notifications via text on my trainings that I got coming up, when I drop a training, things like that, go to text Mindset to 904-932-0622. Leave that up there for 10 seconds. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi. Come on, y'all. 5 Mississippi. Sense of urgency. 6 Mississippi. 7 Mississippi. 8 Mississippi. 9 Mississippi. 10. All right. Last slide. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, guys. I'm trying to build my platform so when I drop my book, I have a good following. So look, it only takes you 30 seconds to go to my YouTube page and subscribe. If you don't want notifications, don't hit the bell. Like, you won't get notified that I dropped the video unless you hit the notification bell. Say you want to be. Subscribing to my channel helps me build my channel base, and it unlocks different things for me on YouTube that could only unlock when you got a certain amount of following. So if you guys could do that and help me out, that would be super duper fantastic. So now what I'm gonna do is, for people who want to ask some questions, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna click to allow people to unmute themselves. Please don't step on each other, and please understand that ladies are always first. So if it's a lady and a man asking a question, I'm gonna ask the gentleman to yield to the young lady. I do that on the Monday night CDLP trainers as well, and any other platforms that I have, just because that's how I was raised. So there it is. So anybody with any questions? Go on one.
I have a question. This is Lori.
Lori Wu, what's up?
What's up? So going back to the ring run story and your ring run. So when you realized you were behind, or like for me personally, like if I was on my ring run and I'm behind, you're saying either alter the goal, like alter the date, and then try to do more.
Yes, you can alter the date if it's a big number. If it's because sometimes you got to be honest with yourself, right? So if you're running for the ring, you need to make $8,300 a month, and you have a month that you do 5,000. If you know how your business runs, can you make up $3,000? If you can, then you make up $3,000. If you know that reasonably you can't make it up, then you got to push your date up. So you got to go back to your first day of that 365-day period that you're looking to close out of. Look how much money you made on that day. So give you an example. If I go back to day one and I made $7,600 that day. I'm sorry. That month I made $7,600. But that day one, like day one of 365, I made $400 that day, right? I have to alter that now, because if I say I'm gonna move my date by one day, I gotta know I'm losing that $400 from day one.
Gotcha. Okay.
So you're moving it. It's day for day. It's not really month for month. So some people think that when you're running for the ring, it's month to month. It's not. It's really 365 days. So every day you're losing the first day of 365 every day. So if you miss by $3,000, well, how long does it take you to make $3,000? If you say, well, I can make $3,000 in 4 days. Well, if you can make $3,000 in 4 days, what you gotta do is you gotta go look at day one, right? And say, okay, I'm looking at day 1, 2, 3, 4. Wherever that is, I need you to take yourself off of, hold on. I'll unmute you when it's time for you to talk, because the background out there. So I gotta look at the beginning and say, okay, day 1, 2, 3, and 4, how much money did I make in those 4 days? Because now I'm moving my days up 4 days. If I'm gonna move my days up 4 days, that means I'm gonna lose 4 days from the back. So the 4 days that I'm losing from the back, the question is, how much money did I make in those 4 days? If those 4 days that I'm losing, I made $3,000 in, and I'm $3,000 behind, and I'm moving my days up, now I gotta make up the $3,000 that I'm behind, plus the $3,000 from the days that I'm losing.
Makes sense.
See what I mean? So, and that's the tricky thing about when you're running on any kind of cycle for any kind of what am I thinking? What am I looking for? Quota. You're running for a quota, and it's a day for day. It's a day for day rolling, 365 rolling. You got to always look at that last day, and you got to go to your commission statement, and you got to say, okay, you got to literally get on the calendar and count back 365 days and look at that day and say, click, what did I make that day? $213. Write it down. What did I make the day after that? $400. Write that down. What did I make the day after that? $39. Write that down. Then you add it all. You add all of that up, and you say, this is what I made in this 4 days. So by me pushing my date out 4 days, I gotta make up that money plus the money that I'm behind on anyway, which is why I'm pushing it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right,
Thank you.
good stuff.
Appreciate it.
Answer your question. Yep, you got it. Anybody else with a question? I think I heard Trent. Trent, was you trying to talk? Unmute yourself real quick.
Well, I didn't want to actually go back.
So what's happening with you is you must got your phone and the computer on this at the same time and it's echoing. That's what's happening. Or you on speaker or something.
Now, no, I was trying to talk through my tablet, and that's the one that was creating a back feed through my Bluetooth speaker. So I just turned that one off, and using my phone. The information for the what was it? Oh, jeez, got caught up in the background noise. I'll just text it. That way you'll be able to read it.
Yeah. Text it to me. I got you.
All righty.
I got you. Yep. Anybody else with a question? Going once? Going twice? All right, fantastic. Well, I appreciate you guys being on the line with me today. Again, this is going to be, I was able to get the whole recording in this time. So this will be posted tomorrow night. It'll be posted. I hope you guys got the other stuff, the other trainings. I did send those out in the email, and they are on YouTube as well. And that's another thing I want you guys to remember. When you're looking for the trainings, like everything's on YouTube. So you can always go to YouTube and I mean to my page, obviously, and all of them are there. I always upload the trainings there, and I put a thumbnail there and the title and all that kind of stuff. So just click on it, look at it, and you will also get the email with the slideshow. You guys will get this entire slideshow that I went over today. You'll get the whole thing sent to you as well. The only time you're not gonna get the slideshow is when I'm doing an interview with somebody and it's personal stuff on there and they don't want me to give that slideshow out. Other than that, when I'm creating a slideshow based on my stuff, then you're gonna get it every time. So you guys have a wonderful rest of the week. Close your month off, whatever it is that you do, whatever your quota is for the end of the month, crush it. And I'll see you guys here next week, Wednesday, for part 4 of Training Your Brain. And don't forget to subscribe and go to Facebook and Instagram and all that good stuff. You guys enjoy your night.
Thank you.